Okay, so we'll begin. Sri Bhagavanuvāca prakāśam ca pravrittim ca mohameva ca pandava nadeshti sampravrittani nanuvrittani kamshati udasīna vadāsīno guṇiryo udasīna vadāsīno guṇairyo na vijalyate gunavartanda idievam yo avadi stadi nengade samadukka sugasvasta samalodasma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samstudihi manapamanayo's tulyas tulyo mitrari pakshayoha sarvarambha parityagi gunanidaha sa uchyade. Shri Bhagavanuvāca prakāśam ca pravrittim ca mohameva ca pandava nadeshti sampravrittani nanuvrittani kamshati udasīna vadāsīno guṇairyo na vijalyate gunavartanda idievam yo vadastidadi nengade samadukka sugasvasta samalodasma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samstudihi manapamanayo's tulyas tulyo mutrari pakshayoha sarvarambha parityagi gunanidaha sauchyade. Sri Bhagavanuvāca prakāśam ca pravrittim ca mohameva ca pandava nadeshti sampravrittani nanuvartandi kamshati udasīna vadāsīno guṇairyo vijalyate guṇaryo na vijalyate gunavartanda idievam yo avadistadi nengade samadukka sugasvasta samalodasma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhira tulya nindatma samstudihi manapamanayo's tulyas tulyo mitrari pakshayoha sarvarambha parityagi gunadidaha sauchyade. Mataji's Projis, you wanted to recite? Please go ahead. It's beautiful verses. Please recite. It's beautiful verse. At least one Prabhuji and Mataji. Satyabhama Mataji, please go ahead. Ashish Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
1 minute. So I need a little bit specs, my specs.
Okay.
I'll after taking this and yes. Shri Bhagavan Uvacho Prakasam Cho Pravartim Cho Mohan Eva Cho Pandava Na Davesti Samprartani Na Nivartani Kangsati Udashina Bhadvashino Gunare Ona Bichallate Guna Bhartanto iti evam O abhatistati nengate Samadukha Shukhasbha Sthaho Sama Lokastha Lostasma Konchonaho Tullo Priya Priyo Dhiras Tullo Nindatma Samstututiho Manapana Nayos Tullas tullo mitrari proksayo sarvarambha puritagi gunatita hosa uchate.
Yeah, wonderful. Very nice.
Thank
Dagar
you.
Prabhu would like to recite.
Yeah, sure. Sri Bhagavan Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava nadvesti sampravrittani navrittani kanshati udasina vad asino gunairyo na vichatyate guna vartanta iti evam yo Vatisthasti nengate samadukha sukha swastha sama losthasma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samstutihi mana pamanayos tulyas tulyo mitrari prakrisayoh sarvarambha parityagi gunatitah sa uchyate.
Yeah, wonderful. Very nice. Wonderful. Sachimada wanted to try. It's a beautiful verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm at the temple for service. I just reached there.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so I will go word by word meaning. Synonyms. Sri Bhagavan Vaja, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Prakasham, illumination, cha, and Pravurtim, attachment, cha, and Moham, illusion, Evaja, also, Pandava, O son of Pandu, now Deshti does not hate, some Pravurtani, although developed, na Nivurtani, nor stopping development, Kamshadi, desires, Udasinava, as if neutral, Asinaha, situated, Gunai, by the qualities, yeah, one who, na, never, Vijalyade is agitated, Guna, the qualities, Vartande are acting, Idi evam, knowing thus, yeah, one who, Avadistadi remains, na, never, Ingade flickers, Sama, equal, Dukha, in distress, Sukha, and happiness, Swastaha, being situated in himself, Sama, equally, Losta, lump of earth, Asma, stone, Kanchana, gold, Tulya, equally disposed, Priya, to the dear, Apriyaha, and the undesirable, Dhira, steady, Tulya, equal, Ninda, in defamation, Atma samstudihi, and praise of himself, Mana, in honor, Apamanayo, and dishonor, Tulya, equal, Tulyaha, equal, Mitra, of friends, Ari, and enemies, Pakshayoha, to the parties, Sarva, of all, Arambha, endeavors, Parityagi, renouncer, Guna Adidaha, transcendental to the material modes of nature, Sa, he, Uchyade, is said to be. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of air, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person said to have transcended the modes of nature. Purport. Arjuna submitted 3 different questions, and the Lord answers them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendently situated has no envy and does not hunger for anything. When a living entity stays in this material world, embodied by the material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the 3 modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. When one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictation of the material body. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as a spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendently situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. The next question concerns of the dealings of transcendently situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered to the body, but transcendently situated person is not affected by such false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honors or dishonors him. He accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or a gold. He takes everyone as his dear friend who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness. And he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with the material existence. Social and political issues do not affect him because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendently situated. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadadi Sabadandigam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Dabadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunadhanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Shri Vishakhanidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanur Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktum Sahaviryam Karavavagai Tejasvina Madidamastu Ma Vidushavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, for joining today this systematic study of Bhagavad Gita class. So nice to be hearing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita every day. And we are going deep in understanding what Krishna is revealing to Arjuna, this transcendental absolute knowledge. So we were going through this chapter 14, the modes of material nature. So everybody pretty much now know that what is modes of material nature, or is called three gunas. We are all bound by anybody in this material world with this material body that he is acting upon in this material world by these three modes of material nature. So anybody in this world is actually bound by this material three modes of material nature. So these three modes of material nature is known as Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna. So in the beginning of the first words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Bhagavan Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Supreme Lord Bhagavan speaking to Arjuna, "O Arjuna, what I am declaring is the supreme wisdom." So Krishna is telling to Arjuna, this is the supreme wisdom. This is the perfection of all knowledge. And by focusing on this knowledge, one can attain my nature. So in this verse and previous verse, Arjuna asking the question, how one can become transcend these modes of material nature. And Arjuna is asking the questions to the Supreme Lord after hearing that Supreme Lord revealed that the qualities of living entities in this material world, either they goes through the goodness, passion, or ignorance, or sometimes goodness and passion, sometimes ignorance and passion, ignorance, goodness, depends upon what they are going through, what their desires are, which insights in their mind. So depends on that. It's mutually related, mutually interrelated. These qualities and the desires and the human body and everything, the human in this world, because of with the modes he's tried to act, and with his desires and the mind and the intelligence all act according to the modes of nature, which he accumulated these qualities from his past karma. This is what Krishna is revealing to Arjuna in the beginning. And Krishna is revealing to Arjuna that when one is in the mode of goodness, one is in the mode of passion, one is in the mode of ignorance. Krishna is revealing that when one is in the mode of goodness, he is illuminated with the knowledge. He is illuminated with the knowledge. That means now he can understand what is right and what is wrong, what to be done, what not to be done. So he is illuminated with the knowledge. When a person in the mode of passion, he is very much madness. He is very much eager and madness in his all endeavor, in his all activities. He is so entangled and attached to this material world. He is always looking for the results to enjoy what he does. And then also Krishna reveals to Arjuna that when a person in the mode of ignorance, he is udasinata. He is always lazy. Udasina. He is always lazy. And he is always in the mode of inertia. And he always, he does not know what is actually to be done. He is in the mode of darkness or called ignorance. He does not know what is actually right and what is wrong. A person in the mode of ignorance considered everything is in good and is actually a bad. And everything is bad, he considered as a good. This is the natural symptom of the person in the mode of ignorance. Whenever he thinks something, and he always think in the opposite way. If something he sees as a good, he sees bad. And a person in the mode of ignorance sees that something is bad, he thinks it's good. That's why the person in the mode of ignorance actually always in distress and in struggling, and in the very distressed condition, because of he does not know what is good, and he always equate everything with his own level of consciousness, and he thinks that whatever is good is actually bad. So person, we generally speak that when a person is very much in the mode of ignorance, we tell him some good advice, he thinks that, no, this is bad for me. But on the other hand, if somebody says him some bad advice, he thinks that, oh, this is very good for me. So we can see that in this world. So that's why it's very much we should be very conscious whom we are giving the advice, whom we are actually giving all this, interact with, because of they can easily misunderstand us. They can easily misunderstand us because of they are thinking from their own level, and we are actually, or person in the mode of goodness, thinking on their own level. So it does not match. That's why it's in the many times we says that in our scripture says that we should always interact, and sangha, that's called satsanga, we should associate with the like-minded people. So if we are associated with this asanga, those who are in the mode of ignorance or in the demoniac qualities, then that does not match. So there will be a conflict. There can be a conflict. So it's very important that we always understand this. So a person in the mode of goodness always behave nicely with everyone, but on the other hand, a person in the mode of ignorance is actually misbehave with everyone, and he is easily get anger. He is always attached to this material world, result oriented, lusty, greedy, anger. All these are the qualities of a person in the mode of ignorance. And we can easily see that, how they behave and how they interact with this world. So they are troublemakers, and they themselves are not happy with anything. But a person in the mode of goodness is naturally they're happy because of they know what to be done, and so that they don't indulge into the ignorant activities. And a person in the mode of passion, in the Rajoguna, he is either in the mode of ignorance or can be in the mode of goodness. Mostly a person in the mode of passion is mostly in the mode of ignorance because of that is a tendency of that he can easily slip into the darkness mode. So that's another result of a person in the mode of passion because of over-endeavoring attachment, over-attachment, all this. So Arjuna finally asked this question. Anybody knows that 3 questions Arjuna asked? Anybody remembers that what 3 questions Arjuna asked from yesterday's class? Okay, so Arjuna asked this question. Arjuna asked Krishna, the Supreme Lord, how one knows that one who is in the mode of goodness or one who transcends this mode? First question Arjuna asked, how, oh Krishna, can you tell me how one knows how a person is transcends the mode? Right? First question. How one knows a person transcends the modes. Second question Arjuna asked, how a person transcends to these modes of material nature behaves. And then how he behaves. And third question Arjuna asked Krishna, how one can transcend these modes. How does one can transcend these modes of material nature? And that is actually the answering, Krishna answering those questions, 3 questions in these 4 verses. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear. So these are the symptoms, one who transcends his modes of material nature. So Krishna is giving the answer to Arjuna's question, and how one knows that a person is transcend these 3 modes of material nature. So Krishna is revealing that answer, O son of Pandu, Arjuna, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear. So in the 18th chapter, 54th verse, there is a verse, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shojati na kamshati samaha sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti labadevara. Krishna is telling Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, one who transcends these modes, that one who does not, eager for anything that which he wants to enjoy or wants to get it in this world. Na shochati, and at the same time, if it disappears, anything that which he has disappears, he is not shochati, he is not, does not show any disappointment or any, dissatisfaction. He is always happy with what they have. He does not endeavor or eagerly attach for anything. So we know that in this material world, that attachment is our great trouble or distress. Great problem for us. If you are so attached to something, that attachment itself gives us so much of pain and trouble, because of we are so attached to it. So that we can easily see it in this material world. A person is so attached. So we know that a person is so drunkard. That itself gives him back all the problems, because he is so attached to it and he cannot come out of it. A person is a chain smoker. He get a cancer. He get lots of problems. A drinker, he gets a liver cirrhosis, and he cannot, lot of problem with his body and pressure, diabetics, and so many problems. A person is a drunkard. Like similarly, person is a chain smoker. That itself gives back that problem. So that itself devour that person. So anything in this world like that, if you are over endeavor or over attached to anything in this world, that itself actually devour us, like an octopus, right? If we just in the clutches of the octopus, it's actually, clutches us. It's actually completely bound us with this the hands of it. So like we know that the web of a spider. So when there is a web of a spider, anything is actually goes into that web. What happens immediately? That the spider completely catches that anything comes into the web of the spider. So this is called a network. This is a network in this material world. So who is creating this network? This is created by the Maya. So this is Maya's energy. So either in the mode of goodness or in the passion or in the ignorance. So this is Maya's energy, or this is network which is created. So any person just come into that, immediately is devour us. It's actually attack us, and then we eventually get into the clutches of this illusion. So Krishna is revealing here this illusory energy, something we are so much attached. And the moment it disappears, we are so morose, so much disappointed. We are down, sentimental. So we cannot live without that. That sometimes we have so much something, everybody has something. This is called attachment. Even great person and great people, they have attachment to even at least something. And even at least something, they have attachment for it. It's very difficult to overcome this attachment. That's why even for the sannyasis and the sages, it is mentioned that they should not stay any place more than 3 days. So natural symptom of a person that then we start to develop attachment for it, right? We start to develop attachment for it. So it is said that this is a natural tendency of every human being. So naturally we develop an attachment to it, and it's very, very difficult to overcome. So I'll give you a story like this. One time a sage was living in a forest, and he was very much completely detached from everything. And then, he does not take anything. He is so completely happy. And with his own, what all he has is actually just a small hut and a cowpea, and that's it, nothing else. He goes to the river, get the water, he drinks. Whatever he gets from the forest, he eat. And if he doesn't get it, he starve. And this was going on for many, many, years. So one day, the king of that country, that Rajya, that place, he went into the forest, and he lost his route, and he lost in the forest. And then he was wandering in the forest, and finally he saw this hut of this hermitage of this sadhu. It was pitch dark, and now there is no place to go. And the king requested this sadhu that, can I stay here for a night? I lost myself in this forest. I don't know where to go and what is the route. So sadhu agreed. Sadhu is always, very always favorable to the every living entity. Sadhu agreed, and the king stayed with the sadhu that night. So next day morning, immediately, when the morning came, and sadhu sent the king, and after morning rituals, and gave some fruits and other things to drink and eat. Then the king left. But king actually forgot his sword in the hermitage of the sadhu. Then what happened? So then, then now the king left all the way, and then Sadhu does not know where to look and how to look and what is his name of this king or anything like that. So the sword was actually lying there in the hermitage for quite some time. So one day, the Sadhu just saw and just took this sword out, and then sword took out from its cover, and looked at it, and saw that it's beautiful sword. And he was, it was lying there for quite some days, but he didn't have any attachment for it. But it was there, and he just, for out of curiosity, yeah, it looks beautiful, nice, let me open it. So as soon as he opened it, and he saw it's a beautiful sword, and the mind started to agitate. So now he just kept it back. Every day, when he go out, he look at this sword, and he goes out and he collect the fruits and wood and everything, like he comes back and he cook and whatever he has and all those things. And but he has in his mind about, he's got little attachment to that. And then what happened? Then one day he thought, every day I use my hands to break this, thick wood and branches, and it's very hard for me. So let me take this sword. Let me take this sword out to the forest to collect the woods. And now he thought, yeah, it may be helpful for him. What is the wrong in it? What is the wrong in it? And it's not harmful for anything. So now he took this sword out along with him, the sadhu, and he went and cut the branches. So he thought, so easy, very nice. So now he got little more attachment because of it, made his work, his duty, little easy. So he took the sword and brought it back and put it back into the cover. And then next day morning also, when he went into the forest, he took this sword and went into the forest, and then used this sword to cut the branches. Now he started to enjoy with it. Wow, it's so nice. And when I just, use it and easily cut the branches. And even now he used to pick up or break the dried ones. Now he thought, okay, why should I go every day into the forest? So I can cut this, rough one, the branches, which is already not dried one, and then let me cut all those so that I can collect it and I can keep it so it will dry eventually so that I can use it. Now he started to use this sword left and right. Now he started to use this sadhu left and right to cut the branches and the leaves and everything. So now he is not thinking anything else because he is so attached to this branch, this sword. So then what happens now? He is enjoying with it. Yeah, it's so nicely when I, cut the branches, which is life, and it's so nicely come out, and he's using left and right. So one day the sadhu, when using the sword like this, and he happened to kill a snake on the branch of a tree. So he just cut the head of the snake, and he saw that he's, just immediately this snake is actually died in front of the sadhu. Sadhu got a little bit pain inside him. Oh my God, and I killed a snake. But immediately the next moment, since he was so attached to the sword, he said, it's my mistake. And I was not purposefully did it. And it was by mistake that I used this sword, and I didn't see the snake. So he was trying to pacify himself. And he didn't actually still, because of his attachment to the sword, he started to use it, every day now. So now when he cut this one, and he is now killing many other insects and many snakes more and more. So basically what happens eventually, now he is actually completely forgot about his dharma, his sincere heart and dharma, and that not to kill any other living entities, but he is all care about now himself and with his sword. So then eventually what happens now, he started to kill other animals, and then eventually he started to eat those animals. And now, so far, before he was getting this sword, he was a great sadhu. He was always care about every living entity. Now, with his attachment to this sword, now he became a Rakshasa. He became a man, the meat eater over there in the forest. He started to kill the innocent livings, the animals there, and started to kill and to make the fire. And then eventually he became a hunter, and he became a stealer, and he started to steal the things and become a hunter. and he completely lost his all these what good qualities he had because of his attachment. So, dear devotees, a great lessons for all of us. And we know that Bharat Maharaj was in the forest. Bharat Maharaj left everything. Bharat Maharaj has 100 children, 100 sons. And Bharat Maharaj completely, no, Rishabhadev had 100 sons, and Bharat Maharaj was the eldest. When Rishabhadev left to the forest, and then Bharat Maharaj, the eldest son, became the king, and that's why we known as the Bharat Varsha. Before that, it Ajnaba Varsha. That Bharata was known as Ajnaba Varsha, and after the Maharaj Bharat came to this, started to rule, then it's called Bharat Varsha. And then Bharat Maharaj then left everything when he was very young, and he understood that what is the purpose of life, and he was completely self-realized, and he left everything and beautiful kingdom and the children and the wife and everything, all the wealth, everything. He went into the forest, and then he was meditating over there. He was meditating in the forest for a long time, and then one day he saw that there is a deer crossing the river, and all of a sudden there was a big roar of a lion. And because of the fear of this big roar of the lion and this deer, the mother deer actually immediately gave a birth to a baby deer. Naturally, a sadhu has a compassionate mind, compassionate nature. And seeing this, the mother deer immediately swayed away in the water and died, and this little baby deer in the water and floating there. And this Maharaj Bharat actually got up from his meditation and went into the water and took this baby deer in his hand. And he brought to the hermitage. He started to take care of this deer. And then what happened? Then he was now eventually now he forgot all his meditation, all his dharma, all his ritual activities and the devotional service to the Lord. Now he was all the time taking care of the deer, and he was all the time now thinking about this deer, whether he ate or not, if the deer goes a little away far from this hermitage. He was so anxious. He was so curious and so anxious to see the deer, where this deer is, where this my baby deer. And he started to call this deer, and he goes after this deer, and whether he ate or not, and he was slept or not, and sleeping with the deer. And what happens? Eventually, this Bharat Maharaj became the very deer conscious. So then in that mood, that consciousness, Maharaj Bharat left his body. And then what happens? In the next lifetime, Maharaj Bharat became the body of a deer, and he became a deer in the next lifetime. But because of his sadhana, spiritual, that purity, that he could realize that I was Bharat Maharaj, I was a great devotee in the last lifetime, and I wasted my life, and here I became an animal because I had an animal consciousness. So then Maharaj Bharat again became, in the third lifetime, he became a son of a Brahmana, and he also could realize and remember his past life. And then he became a Jada Bharat, and he completely aloof from all this. And then anything which he gets, happiness or distress, he is equipoised. That he understood that the value of the life, value of the human life. And whether anything that people started to call him dumb. And because of he is not reacting or responding, if somebody spit him or somebody called him or somebody beat him, and his father and his brothers thought that Jada Bharat became a dull and a dumb, and he is useless and he can't do anything. But Bharat Maharaj, he was remembering his past lives, and he was self-realized and situated in such a way that he was thinking that I don't want to entangle. I don't want to make the same mistake again, to attach to all of things in this world. Then Jada Bharat, the Bharat Maharaj or Jada Bharat, actually completely self-situated in his own, and he was always equipped, and he was, if he gets something, eat. If he doesn't get something, he doesn't eat. If somebody's called him, he's not bothered about anything, or somebody praises him, he does not bothered about any praise or praiseworthy or anything. So that's what is exactly is mentioning here in these words. How one can transcend these modes of material nature? Dear devotees, the modes of material nature, 99% of things happening in this our lifetime is actually because of we are entangled by that modes of material nature. That is actually the root of our all activities and the distress, happiness, all these illusions, these dualities are actually arises from because of we are so connected, attached to this modes of material nature. In other words, can say that the modes of material nature actually devour us. The modes of material nature is actually bind us. So these qualities that which arises from these modes of material nature is actually also influence us to act in such a way that we are in the ignorance or in the passion or the goodness. We think that this is what is all about and this is what is we are. So, but Arjuna is asking here the same question, that how and one can transcend this, and how one knows that he transcends his modes of material nature, and then how one can transcend this and how one behaves. So that's exactly Krishna is revealing here, that when somebody gets something, happiness or distress, or when there is an illumination, when there is a knowledge, and he became very scholarly and the knowledge, he does not become so proud what he gets it. Somebody gets some good qualities, he is completely does not forget himself. Now he thinks that I am the king, I am that, I am this, I am so and so, I am so much of fame I have so much of money I have, so everybody else has to come and bow down in front of me. Everybody has to give my due respect. I am so and so person. In their talk and their walk and everything, we can see that based on that ego that I am so and so, I am something in this world. But a person who is transcend this mode, either a person in the mode of goodness or a passion or ignorance. Sometimes we think, some people say that I'm so full, I don't know anything. Some people so attached to so many things. But a person who transcends this and understood that this is all happening because of the modes of material nature, in that situation, he always situated that it doesn't affect me. Whether somebody comes in front of me and praise me, okay, good, that's good, all right, good, wonderful. And somebody come and started to scold you or started to use bad words. And naturally, yes, it's the first thing is actually, it's come out is actually our ego. Because of our ego, then we start to react and respond. And if he uses the bad language, some people start to use the bad language. And some people started to use, many of those things. And there was a story like this. And one time, this was the Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great actually traveled, and he conquered many of the Asian regions, and he came to the region of, the Bharata, and in the northern region, and he was there, and he was seeing this. And he saw a sadhu sitting there. He saw a sadhu sitting there in a cave. And Alexander came, and Alexander was very impatient person. He gets angry so fast. He gets so angry so fast, and he conquer everybody, and he is so aggressive person. Usually the Kshatriyas are like that, so aggressive. So Alexander came in front of this sadhu, and sadhu was in deep meditation. So then Alexander just mentioned that to the servant of this sadhu, that the Alexander the Great came. So sadhu went inside, and the servant went inside. The sadhu was so much in deep meditation. And sadhu's servant said to the Alexander, you wait here. Alexander said, you know who I am? And the servant went in again inside and just mentioned and didn't get any answer. The servant came back again and just mentioned that sadhu is not answering. Wait for. So the servant said, wait for him, wait for him, wait for him. So he waited for quite some time. And then Alexander got very angry. And he took out his sword out of his jewel and then came in front of sadhu and started to scold and started to use bad words and about to kill sadhu. Sadhu understood the mood of Alexander and opened his eyes. And sadhu said, I understand. Why did you come here? You wanted to know that how to control your anger and the impatience. But for 2 minutes or many hours or many minutes or from few minutes, You couldn't wait, you couldn't control your anger, then how you will control, how you will learn about that, how to have patience, how to have the control the anger. So then Alexander realized that, yes, patience, that means we have to control our mind first. So dear devotees, these modes of material nature, the illusion, this energy affects the mind first. So because of that, what happens? We swayed away into this dualities, happiness, distress, and all those things. Then what happens? We completely entangle with, as I gave that the story of a sadhu in the forest, completely attached to the sword. So like that, it swayed away from us, takes us away from our original reality or our transcendental nature. So Arjuna asked this question, how one can become transcendent? And how knows that one who is in the transcendental position and or transcend these three modes of material nature? So Krishna is very beautifully giving this answer. When they get something, when they illuminate, they don't overjoyed or they just puffed up or they become, so much proud of it. But when they also disappear, if they have something, it is also Krishna's arrangement that if one has something, if they lose something, then he does not, kind of lament. He does not lament about his loss. And he thinks that, yes, this is Krishna's arrangement, that Krishna has some plan for me. And so that's why it is actually I lost everything or I lost something. Krishna may have some plan for it. This is real Krishna consciousness, devotees. And this is what is exactly Krishna is revealing here. How one is behaved when he is transcends, or how one can transcend this mode. All these answers are here in these 4 verses. So Krishna is saying that who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities. When there are something we get it, something we lost, something happiness comes, something distress comes, something good happens, something bad happens, he is equipoised. He understands that this is all the arrangement of Krishna. That's why there are 6 steps. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommended that one who surrenders, one who takes the shelter of Krishna, then he is actually free from, he is completely, the steps, there are 6 ways that one can become completely take the shelter of Krishna. That's called Sharanagati. And that 6 ways that or 6 thoughts of Bhaktivinoda Thakur says to the devotees that is that always remember that Krishna is the one who's protector. And Krishna is the maintainer, the second one. And in no other situations that he can be, in distress or happiness condition because of it's all the arrangement of Krishna. And he always protects and he always takes care of the devotee. And he is the maintainer. Third one, he is the maintainer. And he will be always there for the devotee, the 4th one. And never the devotee takes anything which is unfavorable for Krishna. And anything which is unfavorable for Krishna because he knows that everything goes as per the will of the Lord. And the 6th one, he does not even, he always in the favorable for Krishna. So Krishna says, Anukulasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjita. That whatever is favorable for Krishna, consciousness takes it. And whatever is not favorable for Krishna, consciousness rejects it. That means that's why Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. Yes, he does it. He does things accordingly that what is favorable, what is conducive for Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he is equipoised with his material qualities. Whether there is a praise, there is a, there is a bad words or there's a praise or anything that which comes to his life, happiness or distress. And he knows that it all comes and arises from the sense perceptions or sensual perceptions. So it all arises from the material body. As long as one is in this material body, he has to go through these modes of material nature. But one can transcend these modes of material nature. So how we can do that? It's like, as we all know that, like a milk. Our condition is actually in this material world is kind of a milk. And then it's actually the moment the material nature, or as it knows that the Bibadi Durga, right? When the milk is touched by an acid, then it's actually start to split. That means it's become yogurt or it become curd in some point of time. So when we are in contact with this material nature, our condition is like a yogurt. That means it's contaminated by an external energy or these modes of material nature. So now what happens in order to come out of it? So we have to change our life. When we churn this yogurt, then what happens? We get a butter. So this is called the Shuddha Sattva. That means when we churn this yogurt and the butter comes out of it. So this is actually a pure form of this material world, or the pure form of this modes of material nature. That's called Shuddha Sattva. When again that we boil this butter, then we get the pure ghee, very pure ghee. That is called Vishuddha Sattva. That is the transcendental nature of it. So dear devotees, now we have to churn ourselves. We have to put ourselves in this condition that we should not be so much entangled into this material world with happiness or distress. We should be equipoised. Something we get in our life, good and good, wonderful. Something happens to us, yes, it's Krishna's arrangement that Krishna has some plan for good. Some praises, somebody comes in front of us and prays so much, so we puffed up. Oh, I am so and so and great. But we know that it's just a words which he uses, but we should be always humble. Always humble, that we should always say that, what I am, what quality I have, what greatness I have. I am having this greatness, or somebody come and see some greatness or say some greatness. This is all the mercy of Krishna or a guru or a spiritual master. Otherwise, what quality I have? I don't even have a capacity to move a blade of grass or create one blade of grass. I don't have. Everything I am, I have anything, or anything we say that I have something, is all because of Krishna's mercy, Lord's mercy, or Guru's mercy. Otherwise, what I have? So why we are so much puffed up in this world? If somebody comes and praises something, or why I am so much, kind of what is called contentful with something we get it. Somebody was saying that, I went to a friend's house. He was all night. He was talking about he got a new car. He was so much in bliss with this car, an attachment to this. So why? Because of he does not know, and he is so entangled with this material nature. So he's contaminated. So if the moment the car get into an accident, he started to distressful and he's so lamenting for the car and that. But the moment that is, whether it is a car or not car, the purpose of the car is to drive, take me to one place to another. What is the big value in it? So like that, a stone, like we know that there are people are so much eager for that, to get so much of big carat, diamond and the ruby and emerald and all. They're dying for it. But the transcendental know that it's just a piece of stone. It's just a piece of stone. But when it glitters and people so much attached to it and so much eager to get it, so the value of this diamond goes up like anything. It's a precious. It's become so precious for the people, and they say it's a precious metal. And they are so eager to get it. And so much of crores of their entire life is actually spent for to get that one, so that they get little pleasure out of it. So like a donkey, Srila Prabhupada gives examples that in front of a donkey's cart, the owner of the donkey put little dry, the dry grass in front of it. Donkey thinks that, this is for me, and I get this dry grass, and so that I can eat it, so that the donkey take all the load in his back. So dear devotees, this is our condition. We take all the load is in our back just to see that some flickering happiness or chapala sukha, that flickering happiness, to get it, we entangled ourselves in so much in this material world or this energy. This is what is exactly Krishna is revealing. By the supreme wisdom, using our wisdom, understanding this. This is the supreme wisdom, that by focusing on this and understanding this, that we are actually entangled by the modes of material nature, and there all this happiness and distress and pain and the pleasure and misery and dualities, heat and cold, and all these are, this duality is because of this modes of nature. Then what happens? We completely entangled with it. So only way that we can come out of, dear devotees, that to come and understand this and put ourselves in that, anything that which comes to us, it's all mercy of the Lord. And we take shelter of Krishna, as mentioned that the Sharanagati. When we take the shelter of Krishna, then what happens? We slowly develop that attachment to Krishna and detachment from all this. So when we have detachment from this material world, then some way or other we have to attach, right? Something. So naturally, when we attach to Krishna, then naturally the detachment of this material world comes out. That means we gradually comes out of this, the clutches of the modes of material nature. Then we attach to Krishna. Then we develop that quality, loving nature to Krishna. Then when we enter into our sadhana or the devotional activities like chanting and hearing and Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita association with the devotees. This is where we come to the state of Anartha Nivritti. That's where actually we try to transcend the modes of nature, Anartha Nivritti. Initially, up to this stage of Anartha Nivritti, we are in the mode of practice, the mode of sadhana. And that point, we come to the stage of Anartha Nivritti. That's where we start to slowly come out of the modes of material nature, or we transcend these modes of material nature, or perfect our life. So then we develop that, nishtha, steadiness in the loving devotional service to Krishna. That means every day we get up and chant in the morning. So this is the nishtha. Because of we develop that love for Krishna. Every day when we do that, the sadhana, chant the holy name with attachment and love for Krishna, then we develop great taste for the holy name. Develop the great taste for Krishna. Develop the moment we don't hear any day, if we don't attend the class, or if you don't hear the holy name, or some way or other we are not connected with Krishna a single day, then people start to feel that the separation from Krishna. This is called nishtha, and this is called ruchi, and this is where that we come to an attachment to Krishna. That's the time we feel that we have attachment to Krishna. When we have attachment to Krishna, that's where we develop that nishtha and ruchi and the bhava and prema and all. This is called transcendental position, dear devotees, or called Vishuddha Sattva, or we can say that the pure ghee, that which come from all these impurities, and the butter became pure ghee. That is our transcendental state, or we call it as a spiritual state. So this is what is exactly Krishna is revealing to Arjuna by this process of controlling our mind, body, and the senses, and engaging in the loving devotional service gradually, and then rejecting all these material things like whatever the wealth or the health or whatever we say, and then all these impurities of that, we are so entangled and attached to this, and then think that this is all temporary, this is just for a momentarily, and we cannot even take even a single penny out of it. We know that 2.3 billion was the wealth of the Queen Elizabeth. The jewelry Queen Elizabeth had 2.3 billion. All of this, after this Queen 70 years, Queen Elizabeth could take only, and even didn't take anything that, but they put it there, small ring in Elizabeth, and then a small earring or something like that. A small ring, that's what is all Queen Elizabeth could carry, and that is actually under the earth anyway. So cannot take anything. So why we are so much into all this? And we are wasting of our life just if we have that kind of consciousness, material consciousness, we are completely wasting our life. But life is very special and precious. This is what is precious. Life is very precious. And we know that the story of Sanatana Goswami, that one merchant came and asked for a jewel, and a diamond. Sanatana Goswami immediately gave. And Sanatana Goswami actually took it out from a garbage can. And then gave it to, actually the merchant came, and merchant gave this diamond to Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami Sanatana Goswami gave this diamond to this merchant. And then, it's easily, and it's just as if like anything, give it to the merchant. The merchant thought that so simple, and so, just gave something, just a moment that Sanatana Goswami gave this jewel to this merchant. Merchant thought that Sanatana Goswami will have something more valuable than this. So this merchant came back to Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami said that, "Oh, Goswami, seems like you don't have any value for this jewel, this diamond. I'm thinking that I know that you may have something more valuable than this. Can I get it?" So this Sanatana Goswami said to this merchant, "Yes, I can give you, but one condition. Whatever the jewel you have, diamond you have in your hand, you have to throw into the Yamuna and take bath, dip into the water and come back. I will give you more valuable than this." So this merchant agreed. Merchant went to the water and took the bath and thrown this jewel, this diamond, into the river, and came back in front of Sanatana Goswami. Now this is the time Sanatana Goswami transformed this merchant just by the touch, just by the prayers of Sanatana Goswami. They are the Manjari. So Sanatana Goswami completely transformed, and this merchant gave that Diksha. Sanatana Goswami gave the Harina mantra to this merchant, and merchant started to recite this mantra, and this jumping up and down with the overjoyed and the bliss, that because of the power of Sanatana Goswami transformed this. And yes, I got this more, the most valuable, that dear devotees, this is what it is. So we have to realize and understand this, the value of this precious life. And then we have to take that process of taking the holy name and chanting and take it as the most valued thing in this world. Devotional service to Krishna, chanting the holy name and the following the instructions of the spiritual master and the devotees, association of devotees. This is the greatest wealth that one we can get. It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned that Brahmanda Brahmide kon bhagyavan jeev kuru Krishna prasade bhai bhakti lada beach. Brahmanda Brahmide kon bhagyavan jeev, by the mercy, who is more fortunate than in this world, entire world. Brahmanda Brahmide kon bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna prasade by bhakti lada beach, one who has the seed of a bhakti in his heart. He is the most fortunate person in this entire Brahmand, entire universe. There is nobody, because of that much precious it is, dear devotees. Because of these modes of material nature, we swayed away into this material ocean or samsara chakra. But by this just little understanding of this all flickering chapala, just temporary nature of this material world, but I have a spiritual nature, and I have to transcend this, and I have to come out of this great, ocean of misery. This is the great ocean of misery. There is nothing is here in this world that which will help us unless the devotional service, unless the love for the Supreme Lord. Nothing else can save us from this world. Nothing else can save us. As it's mentioned in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 40th verse, Neho vikraman aswasti pratyavayo na vidyade solpam abhyasya dharmasya trayado mahado bhayan. Solpam obvious, even little bit that we practice this bhakti for the Supreme Lord can save us from the greatest danger. What is that greatest danger, dear devotees? Because of the influence of this material nature, we swayed away into this material ocean, and we are actually gone down and fall down and take death into the animal kingdom and into the demoniac and the hellish planets because of these modes of material nature. And dear devotees, Krishna is revealing this exact point. One should come out of it, as Krishna is answering to Arjuna's question, how one can transcend, how one can become transcend from these modes of material nature and free from all this cycle of birth and death. This is the only way. And this is the way that, and how does he behave? And this is the exact point he does that. He is not lament for anything. He is not come to the desires for anything in this material world. Whatever he has, praise or good or equal words or unworthy or whatever it is. So then in that, he is situated in that, always in the Krishna consciousness. He doesn't care what actually, whether he gets something or not get something. He has something or doesn't have something. He has this or that. He always conscious of Krishna, and he is completely taken shelter of Krishna, and he is completely convinced that Krishna is there to protect me, and I am part of Krishna. I got this birth in this world because of the mercy of the Krishna, and that Krishna, that Supreme Father, will not take care of me. He will definitely take care of each and every one of the living entities, because he is the Supreme Father, he is the Supreme Protector, he is the Supreme Maintainer, nobody else. Because of this Maya, because of this modes of material nature, we think that, I am taking care of me, I am taking care of my family, I am taking care of this country, I am taking care of the temple, I am taking care of that, I. But the moment we say and think when Krishna-centric, rather than self-centric, Krishna-centric, the moment we are Krishna-centric, when Krishna is in the center of our life, we are devotees, then Krishna, in everything Krishnanized. That means instead of Maya, influence of Maya, that Krishna is now Krishna is there in the center. So this is the way that we can come out of it. Otherwise, we'll be completely devoured by the influence of Maya. So it's a beautiful verse. There are 4 verses like this, and it's beautiful, and we can go over and over these wonderful sections, and it's this revealing the what is called crux of it, the revealing the transcendental knowledge, and this is the essence of this chapter. This is the essence of this chapter. Krishna is revealing that secret, that confidential knowledge and the supreme wisdom, that how one can come out of the clutches and the entanglement of these modes of material nature. I think I went ahead a little over, and thank you so much for patiently listening. And let me stop here, and thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Are you there?
Haribol Prabhu, as usual, is a great class, Prabhu. And every word is nectar, Prabhu, from you.
Thank you,
I
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
yeah, I like your every class, Prabhu, really. So actually, Prabhu, one question is there.
Please,
Uh,
please go
uh,
ahead.
what is the again? You maybe confused. No, not the confused, but I need to know about that again. And so, what is the difference between the Shuddha and Shuddha Sattva?
Sattva and Shuddha Sattva and Vishuddha Sattva.
Yes. What is
Okay.
that?
Okay. Sattva Guna is actually known as mode of goodness. That means a person behaves everything good in terms of he has knowledge and he does things good and he does not too much entangle, or he does some charity, who does, go to temple and he worship and he understand the people. And this is the, goodness platform. I mean, he's situated in such a way that he is not so entangled with this material world. He has some knowledge. He always act upon his intelligence, not with his senses or not with his gross body. But he intelligently acts, he behaves nicely with everyone. He sees Krishna's influence in everything, but he is also now he is influenced by the material energy that, sometimes he thinks that, okay, I'm doing this charity, so I need this fame and name, right? So then I also, okay, let me do this charity for this one, let me do this one. Let me put this one, let me go to temple so that I can get something. Things like that. So a person in the mode of goodness, he understands there is a Lord, there is a potency, and there is a, all these things works under the direction of the Supreme. But he situate in that good quality of it, right? Good quality of it. That means, but that means he is not completely come out of it. And he thinks that, okay, let me do this, let me do this. He's also self-centric. The same time, let me do this so that I get this one and all those things. Oh, I am doing good. He is also self-centered. He also has that ego that I'm doing something good, and some people does that, right? Some people, even though they're, oh, I'm good, I'm very good, I'm very good in teaching, I'm very good in speaking, I'm very good in this thing. This ego is there. That's called, that in the goodness. So people see that, oh, he's very good, he's wonderful, he's very nice, right? So, but what happens? The material nature is still influencing him, still influencing him. That means if something praises him, okay, he's very good. So he's now somebody come and told him that, okay, you're so good, so you're so wonderful. Yeah. That's I'm good. That's why I'm doing this. This kinds of attitude. That means he also has that, realize that, oh, I'm doing good, so I get something here and there. So everybody says he's good. Yes, that's fine. But because of that, the rope of the material rope is actually still bind him, right? Because, okay, he does thing, he does lot of charity. He thinks that, okay, if I do this one, I can go to heavenly planets. If I do this one, my forefathers get to benefit, right? If I do this one, he does not do anything or things like that. And this is all good. Like there was an example like that, but there was a sadhu. Sadhu was sitting there and he was always doing this. He will always say the only truth. He doesn't say anything which is against the truth. So one time, there was a king, actually, then he was lost in the forest, and then some dacoits is actually started to chase this king to kill him and to get loot all the jewelries, all the wealth from him. So this king actually, with for saving his life, he came running and he went inside and hid himself inside one of the inside room of the the sadhu. Sadhu was sitting there in front. The dacoits came, and the sadhu never say anything like. So these dacoits came and asked the sadhu, did you see the king running over here? And did you see the sadhu, this king? So the sadhu said, yes, I saw him. He is actually inside the room. So these dacoits came and caught the king and killed him, and then looted everything. So this is the problem of it. So he does not know, even though he act accordingly, but he does not know properly to utilize. So there was a story also. I was learned when I was child. Actually, there was one person fall down into the, he was sick and he was fall down on the street. And there was a person who was actually very much, in the knowledge and very much things. And he saw that this person is actually untouchable. He was not supposed to, I should not oppose this. He was, because of this, a person who was in actually part of a priest. He was very much, upper class, and he was doing good and everything. He does not touch anything. He was always free from all those things. And he just went away. He just walked away because of his attachment to his goodness, that I should not touch and I should not do anything. And another person came, and he was some another, some king or something, some minister or something. And he said, how should I do this? But because of I am in higher position, I can't do anything. Okay, let me call my servant. He said, but a poor person, a normal person came, and he saw that a person lying on the street. And then he took care of this, this person, and took him into the doctor, and then, gave some initial, treatment. So look at that. So the person so much into the mode of goodness, or he thinks that he does so many good things, the mode of goodness and things like that. But certain conditions, he bound by certain conditions of this world, right? So, and he bound by this goodness, right? Rules and regulations, he bound by it. So it is actually a clutches, it's an attachment to this. So he has an attachment to all those rules and regulations. That's why Niyama Agraha and Niyama Agraha, right? So Niyama Agraha, he was actually clutched to by these rules and regulations or this goodness. And that's called the modes of goodness or Shuddha. So then, the mode of goodness or Sattva Guna. Then it comes to the point where we call it as Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva means now he understands it. That means what is right and what is wrong. And he is not so much attached to these rules and regulations or goodness, or what is called, we can say that the conditions of the goodness, right? Or the plane of this goodness, or the quality of this goodness, right? This is the quality of the goodness, also part of this material nature. So now he understands that, like, a word to apply this goodness. I mean, when he sees that person, he goes immediately and he takes care of it. Immediately, doesn't matter. So he does that. So then he is more pure than Sattva Guna. That means more pure. That means like Vaishnavas, right? Vaishnavas, even we know that naturally the Brahmanas are actually in the Sattva Guna. They are educated. They know what to do, what is right, what is wrong. He is qualified. He is good. He does the rituals. He does all those things. And he does things, he does not tell lies, and he is always clean and all those things. This is called the Shuddha Sattva Guna. But Vaishnava, then Srila Prabhupada came to this country, and we know that the people, according to the rules and regulations, and according to the first of all rules and regulations, Srila Prabhupada is not supposed to cross over the ocean. One who crossed over the ocean means he is not according to the rules and regulations, then he is considered as Shudra. He cannot be, address anything. So that's why in olden days, those sannyasis, they don't cross over the oceans, because they think that all the other countries are actually Shudra Mlecha. That means all the lower modes. So one who goes and interact with them, they will also become the Shudra. That's why Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami considered initially that they are Shudra, because of Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami were the ministers of the King Hussein Shah, because of their, so like that. So, but what is happening? So here, Srila Prabhupada came here and took that position of whatever it is, and understood that, I am not sure if somebody says or rules and regulations says like that, I am a spirit soul. I am pure. And my duty is to the higher purpose, to teach, transcend this, transcendental qualities and needs, so that everybody can come to the top. So that is the higher purpose. When one acts not according to the rules and regulations, but act according to the higher purpose of his life, the higher purpose of his life is to transcend his life and comes out of these modes, and he acts accordingly. So then he acts accordingly, then what happens? Then still what happens? Then, sometimes he takes this material energy. Sometimes he utilizes this material energy, sometimes does this thing, all those things. So then some people, as we know that the Vaishnavas, even though they take initiation, even though they are chanting the holy name, even they are actually, does all those things, but still he has some kind of little material tinge about, so many things. This is called the Shuddha Sattva. That means we purified even from the goes beyond this Sattva Guna or these qualities. And when they heard about it, that's why the Vaishnavas come into that category. Vaishnavas, that means come into the category of Shuddha Sattva. Then we come to the Vishuddha Sattva, that means completely transcend these modes or completely transcend. So we come, that's what is here is mentioned. Today's class, that means one who is praise or happiness or distress or honor or dishonor, mana, apamana, he does not have enmity or friendship. He thinks he sees everything equally. And he knows that where should I focus? When I focus on Krishna, then what we can say that this is this is called Vishuddha Sattva. For an example, Jada when Jada became, he is into the Vishuddha Sattva. But in the other case, Bharat Maharaj with the deer, and he has little attachment to that deer, even though he was into the, the Sattva Guna, and even he came to the Shuddha Sattva. But because of that little tinge in his heart for the compassion and all those things, what happened? He attached to it. He fall down from his Krishna consciousness to the deer consciousness. So even into the Shuddha Sattva platform, then one can actually fall down into the Sattva and all the other. But one who transcends this, like a butter or like a ghee, when a ghee is actually completely melted, completely become, then the ghee cannot go back as a yogurt or a milk. Ghee is ghee, always pure. So like that, when a person transcends these modes, these energies of this material world, and he aloof from it, and he equipoised, and he situate in spiritual and Krishna consciousness all the time, and he sees things. That's why it's mentioned that the sadhu, who is actually transcendentalist, see things which ordinary people see as night, the sadhu see as a day, and the ordinary people see that as a day, the sadhu see as a night, because of sadhu knows very clearly that what is the best for it. So that's way. So Vishuddha Sattva means one who is completely transcend these modes of material nature, and then he situate, and even little more time, then he completely transformed to the spiritual world. And as we said that the Srila Prabhupada and the dear devotees and pure devotees, Haridas Thakur, Tukaram Maharaj, they all that there at the moment they completely purified, they came to that Vishuddha Sattva. The moment they come to transcend completely, that now there is nothing to do with this material world, the Lord comes down and take them back to Krishna, like Haridas Thakur ended in the, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we can see that Tukaram Maharaj, Lord came down and took back Tukaram Maharaj. And there are great devotees. There are so many devotees out there. Villamangalam Thakur, Kuru Rama, Bundanandamu, there are so many devotees. The Lord comes down and take them back. The moment they completely purified from these clutches of this material energy. So now it's not the place for them. The material world is not the place for them, but to be with the Lord. So that's the moment, and that's the time that our spiritual nature, spiritual body, then completely reveals and completely come out of these material qualities. And this is the way the Vishuddha Sattva, Shuddha Sattva, and Sattva is actually, we can see.
So yes, so very wonderfully describe you. Thank you, Prabhu, very much. Dandavat Pranam. But one question is, Prabhu, Vishuddha Sattva and Shuddha Sattva, the whoever in Shuddha Sattva stage, they cannot go to the Vaikuntha or Goloka?
Yes, they can. That's why, there is a very narrow line between Shuddha Sattva and Vishuddha Sattva. Like we can say that one who is in sadhana, right? One who is in sadhana and pure, they get liberation. One who is in sadhana bhakti, they get, they get bhukti and mukti, they get liberation. But Vishuddha Sattva is actually one Krishna consciousness. They attain, there are 5 kinds of liberation. There is Sajya Mukti, Samupya Mukti, Salokya Mukti, Sarupya Mukti, and Srashti, like that. So, but one who is actually pure devotee, Vishuddha Sattva, Vishuddha, he is even purified. So he attains the Goloka Vrindavan, the abode of Krishna, abode of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Yes, the innumerable Vaikuntha planets are there. They will attain the liberation. Even the sadhana bhaktas get the liberation, no matter what. So that's what it is. When Sattva Guna, then they go to the higher planetary system like Samanli. But when you come to the pure goodness, they attain the Vaikuntha, pure goodness. Okay. And then actually Vishuddha Sattva, that's where actually the very close association of the Supreme Lord.
Okay, Babu. Got it. Thank you, Babu. Dandavat Pranam, Babu. Very
Then we'll turn on. All goes.
excellent. Thank you, Babu.
Yeah.
Dandavat Pranam.
Okay, wonderful. Any other comments, concerns, questions? Okay. Okay, so if nothing else, then let's conclude today's class. Thank you so much for joining. Also, we have book distribution call. Humbly request devotees, please stay. And we will also have some discussion on the upcoming book distribution activities. So let's thank all the devotees for join today. Let's pray our obeisance to humble Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vacha kalpadarupasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha paridanam pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमः
नमः
वैष्णव वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय श्रील
जय।
प्रभुपाद की जय आनंद
जय।
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
हरि 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 बोल।
थैंक यू सुधाकर प्रभु।
थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण। थैंक यू सो
हरे
मच।
कृष्ण।
थैंक यू
थैंक
हरि
यू
बोल।
थैंक यू प्रभु।
हरे कृष्ण। ओके परमानंद चैतन्य प्रभु सॉरी got a little late.
That's okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So thank you, dear devotees, for staying over. We will try to cover, yeah, understand time is a constraint, but yes, we can get started with our weekly book distribution call. And thanks for staying late. So, Prabhuji, I think with the weekend coming, we are planning, and if weather permits, to go for book distribution this weekend.
No, actually, there is a change in the plan, Prabhuji. There is because of the rain date, they postponed to October 8th.
Okay.
Yeah. So next Saturday.
It's next Saturday? Okay.
Yeah,
thank you,
not
Prabhu.
this Saturday. Yeah, yeah. So please send that out. And we are because of the rain date, the Papiani Park Retreat British which is postponed to October 8th. And I will also send you the flyer.
Okay. Good to let me know, Prabhuji.
Yeah. 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 Maybe we can keep up some book distribution plan on this weekend,
Yeah, okay. I can talk to devotees.